Number of marriages. 1. 7th and 8th house. The number of marriages will be the number of very strong planets occupying the 7th house or being aspect by the lord of the 7th, or as many planets in the 8th house or Vedic aspect by the lord of the 8th. 2. Sign. If the 7th lord goes to a movable sign, denote 2 marriages to the native. If it is a fixed sign, declare 1 marriage. It a dual sign, predict a concubine, apart from a wife. 3. Venus. The number of wives will correspond to the number of strong planets associated with Venus. As has already been discussed, the 7th house from ascendant, Moon, Venus at sea, and their lords rule the marriage. Therefore, the number of marriage may be determined according to the number of planets related with 7th house and 7th lord from ascendant, Moon, and Venus. Venus is the natural Karaka planet of marriage, and her influence in the marriage in a male horoscope is very strong, and therefore the number of planets associated with Venus indicates the number of marriage. Besides the above, there are many combinations suggesting more than one marriage. Therefore, we may witness more than one marriage in our lives due to the influence of such combinations without situation of planets in the 7th house or without association of planets with 7th lord of Venus. The influence of common sign over marriage or situation of Venus and the 7th lord in a common sign generally suggest more than one marriage. When Venus and the 7th lord both join common sign, one is likely to have more than one marriage. 4. Upapada. The Arudha of the 12th house is called Upapada. If there is a benefic in the Upapada, the wife of the native will be very beautiful, has a good character, and is long lived. If a malefic is posited in it and that malefic is debilitated, 2 wives of the native will he lost. If this malefic is exalted and is with or aspect by a benefic, there will be many living wives. But if the association of the benefic is not present in this combination, the native will not marry again. Navansar and multiple marriages. 1. Jupiter. If the lord of Navansar occupied by the Jupiter belongs to itself, he will have 2 or 3 wives. If the lord of Navansar occupied by Jupiter belongs to its exaltation, the person will have many wives. 2. If the lord of the 7th and Venus, both are occupied by the dual Navansar, the person will have 2 wives. 3. Venus. If the lord of the 7th and Venus, both are occupied by the dual Navansar, the person will have 2 wives. 4. 7th lord. If the lord of the 7th house falls in the Navansar of its debilitation, or obtains a common sign in the signs ruled by Jupiter or Mercury and malefic planets lend the aspects on it, multiple marriages are indicated. 5. Navansar Lagna or the 7th lord. One will have another wife, if the Navansar Lagna or the 7th lord falls in the Navansar of its debilitation, or in that of its enemy, or is eclipsed, i.e., falls over the axis of nodes. 6. Shadvarga chart. One will have more than one wife if the 7th house in the Navansar chart is Taurus or Libra, provided the 7th house in other Shadvarga chart is owned by a benefic. The subject will have a number of wives if the lord of the 7th house falls in own sign in Navansar as well as other Shadvargas. More than one marriage. 1. 8th lord in Lagna or in 7th house. 2. 8th lord in Lagna, 7th house aspect by a benefic. 3. Lagna lord in Lagna or 6th house. 4. 2nd lord in 6th house and malefics in 7th house. 5. 2nd lord, Lagnesh in 6th house and a malefic in 7th house. 6. There are several malefics in 7th house. 7. If there are several malefics in the 7th. 8. Moon plus Venus and both strong. 9. Planet in Lagna is in high exaltation and the lord of Lagna is also in its exalted house. 10. 7th plus benefic and occupies enemy's house, debilitated and malefic in 7th. 11. Venus plus malefic, occupying debilitated house, enemy's house, house of an eclipsed planet or in their Ramsar. 12. Venus exalted, own house in 7th house with Rahu, Ketu. 13. 1 benefices plus 1 malefic in 7th house. 14. 7th Lord and Rahu related. 15. 7th Lord and Venus in common sign. 16. Affliction to 7th house, 7th Lord and Venus by malefic. 17. Lagna Lord plus 2nd Lord plus 6th Lord in 7th house with malefic. 18. Strong Venus aspect in 7th house. 19. 7th Lord plus 11th Lord associated together or aspect each other. 20. Lagna Lord in 8th house, 7th house and 2nd house with malefic. 21. Venus plus malefic in debilitation Navamsha and is aspect by a malefic planet. 22. 7th house and 2th house with malefic and their 7h, 2h, Lord are weak. 23. 7th Lord, nakshatra Lord of 7th Lord, Navamsha Lord of 7th Lord in dual signs and related with 2nd and 11th house, Lord. 24. Saturn with Moon, Mars aspect by a benefic. 25. 7th and 8th Lord together aspect by benefics. 26. Mercury is related with 7th house, Lord with a benefic. 27. Planets in 7th house are related to 2nd, 7th, 11th house, Lord. 28. When the 7th house is occupied by malefic planets and the 7th Lord is either in a dual sign or in the Navansar of dual sign, there will be more than one marriage. 2 living wives of one married and other a lover. 1. Weak 7th Lord in 7th house afflicted. 2. Weak 2th Lord in 2nd house afflicted. 3. Mars in 12th house and 7th house, 8th house afflicted. 4. Lagna Lord a 7th Lord debilitated, exaltation house or combust. 5. Sun with Rahu in 7th house. 6. Mercury is 7th Lord in 7th house. And Venus without benefic association. 7. Lagna Lord in Lagna and exchange of 2nd Lord and 7th Lord. Another wife. 1. Lord of the 7th is weak in the 7th house and is aspect by a malefic. 2. Lord of the 2nd is occupying the 2nd house and is associated with or aspect by a malefic. 3. When malefics are in the 7th and the 8th and Mars is in the 12th. 4. Lord of Lagna or the Lord of the 7th in the Amsar is in debilitated or inimical house or eclipsed Navansar, the person will have another wife. Combination for female remarriage. A. Moon plus Saturn or Mars plus Saturn in 7th house. B. Benefic and malefic both in 7th house. Circa 8th Lord in Lagna. D. Mars and Venus exchange in Navamsha. A. Sun and Rahu in Lagna and Jupiter aspecting 7th house. F. Taurus Lagna Mars in 4th house and Venus in 2th house. G. Mars in own house in Lagna, Mercury in 7th house and 7th Lord, Venus, in 8th house. H. Lagna or Moon in Venus's sign and in Saturn's Trimshamsha. I. 7th Lord of Venus in 2nd house in dual sign. Only one marriage. 1. 2nd and 7th Lord. Only one marriage is predicted if the Lords of the 7th and the 2nd are in debilitated signs, and benefics are in Kendra and Konar. If the Lord of the 2nd house is located in the 2nd house itself and the Lord of the 7th is also in its own sign in the 7th, the man has only one wife. If the Lords of the 2nd or 7th house fall in their own signs or obtain exaltation or these are in auspicious vagas, only one manaj will take place. A single marriage is denoted if the 7th the 2nd Lords join in an angle or in a trine. 2. Amsars of Mars and Sun. A. There will be only one marriage for the period if in the Amsars of Mars and the Sun, Mercury and Jupiter are posited. Also, when the 7th Navamsar is that of Jupiter and Mercury is posited there. If Jupiter and Mercury are in the Navansas of the Sun and Mars, it indicates only one marriage. B. As per Bribiyat Jatak, if 7th house in Navansar chart falls in sign of Sun, Mars, Mercury or Jupiter, only one marriage to be there despite some planetary positions supporting more than one marriage in the same horoscope. But this is not reliable indication. C. In fact, very many combinations have been described for counting number of marriages. If Mars and the Sun are conjoined in the 7th house, one will be blessed with a single marriage. The Sun is the most disciplined planet and keeps mass under control. 3. Navansar of Jupiter. A. If the seventh lord obtains the Navansar of Jupiter and is not aspected by any malefics, the native will have only one wife. B. If the lord of the Navansar occupied by the Jupiter belongs to a friend, the native will have only one wife. C. If the seventh house is a benefic sign or is owned by Jupiter and it is either posited or aspected by Jupiter, the native will have one marriage. 4. Venus. A. The native has only one wife if Venus is the second lord and the seventh lord is in a trine or quadrant or in his own or exaltation sign. B. If Venus is alone in aspect to Jupiter or the full moon, the native will have only one marriage which will bring him happiness, respect in the society and vast riches. B. Seventh lord with Venus and no malefic influence on seventh house or seventh lord.